playing with the Launch Control XL3 from Novation. I wanted to get one of these to control my AudioFuse 16 rig from Arturia, and happy to say it works perfectly. I've also been using it to control the Nymphes. So in this demo, I just wanted to show you it working with a couple of things on different MIDI channels simultaneously, basically. Just in case you've not seen one of these working with a DAW before, it's absolutely seamless. It's like flawless, basically. Plug the USB in, plug it into your computer, open up Ableton, and if you've got the latest update of Ableton, it recognizes this straight away and it just works. So scrub through the track, zoom horizontally, zoom vertically, move through the tracks. Let's have a look at the beat of history. Move the cycle point, change the length of the cycle, turn the cycle on and off, click through the different markers. I'll just stop it from playing because it's getting annoying trying to explain it while it's going on in the background. If we hit these buttons down here, we've got different control types. We've got the mixer, or we've got DAW control. So on the mixer, we're controlling the mixer, as you might imagine, where we've got the auxiliary A and B, and we can pan left, pan right. And then along the bottom, there's different modes along here as well. So we can solo stuff or arm stuff, and then we can solo it, take that off, or we can mute tracks, or we can select the track. We can select the tracks moving through this way with, let's put it into the session mode actually. We can flick through the tracks there, or we can hold shift and flick through banks of 8. We can even go over to the auxiliary tracks if we want, and we can still flick through the mix. If I play it again, go to mode DAW control. We're scrubbing through the mix. If you look on the top there, we can see the bar numbers. Scrub through the markers again. So loads of control. You've even got control or access to the track effects. If we come down to, let's come to this one here. So here we're playing with Coffee Leaf, and we're playing with the oscillator types, the oscillator shapes. Come down a page, we can play with the ADSRs. There's envelopes there. So don't want to go into this in too much detail because there is loads in here, and there's probably lots and lots of stuff online you can see already. But I just wanted to show that. Get it out of the box, plug it into your computer, it works in your DAW. So that, to me, isn't the interesting bit. Because it just does it. The interesting bit to me is playing with other stuff with it as well. I'll quickly run through what's happening in that demo track. I've got a couple of setups on the launch control. This first one here on number 3, got on mode 3, is to control the Nymphes. So I've got things like the cutoff, amount of LFO to the filter. Along the top we've got the LFO controls, the LFO rate, the LFO shape. So loads of control over what's happening on the Nymphes on this. Here's the glide over here. Got things like the chord mode, poly modes, LFO2, LFO delay, LFO fade, all the rest of it. These are the 2 envelopes, so let's take the LFO off. Let's control the filter with the ADSR. And we put a big fade in, long release. That's a very long fade in, isn't it? Come on. So yeah. So now if we go to the next mode of setting this, as this is mode 2 I've put it into, and this is controlling the AudioFuse. So these are the fader levels for the first few channels. We've got solos, we've got mutes. These are mutes. If I play this, can't hear it because it's muted. This is an effect. This is the auto ban. got auxiliary 2 being sent to the Auto BAM in the AudioFuse, so auxiliary 2 output. Let's put, well, let's turn this one up. This is the echolocator, which the Nymphes is going through via auxiliary 1. Let's bring the kick in. Put the kick through the echolocator, go through auxiliary 1. And I've got some controls for the Nymphes still over here on the right. Let's clean it a little bit, let's turn that down from the kick drum. This is an envelope. This is the amp envelope on the Nymphes. And I've got it coming through here because it's on a shift function on the Nymphes, so it's easier to have it set up there. Got pan. So yeah, I've got a mono channel, a stereo channel for the LXR percussion, stereo channel for the BAM, a stereo channel for the echolocator. I've set these up in the AudioFuse as another couple of stereo channels, and I think that's a mono channel as well, but you can see as I'm wiggling this, everything happening as it should within the AudioFuse, which is all quite cool and very, very easy to set up. Looking at the AudioFuse control center on the MIDI page, each of the controls on the AudioFuse has got a MIDI CC allocated to it. You can change these, you can change the channel, you can change the type of control, but I've just used the standard setup that you get in the AudioFuse. And I've translated that in Novation Components to the launch control. So you can see here, the faders are CC 74, 75, 79, 72. Come back into the AudioFuse, 74, 75, 79, 72, 80. So you can see I've just mapped everything across. On these controls here, so the switches, you can set the switches to toggle or to be momentary. I'll set them to toggle for the solo and the mutes. So when I hit them, they stay on. And I've set these purple ones over here, these are for the Nymphes. These are on channel 2, and really they don't have to be on channel 2 for the separate MIDI control number to anything else that's being used, but I just thought I'd test it and see if you can set things on different MIDI channels, and it all just works seamlessly. You might have noticed that the buttons in the bottom right are yellow, and they're slightly different because I'm not using them for solos. I've had to sacrifice a couple of the solo buttons to scroll through the pages on the AudioFuse. If we come back to the AudioFuse, we've got channels in banks of 8. You can have them up to 8. And to go to the previous and to the next, we've got CC91 and CC92. CC91, CC92 on the launch control. And that means when I hit these buttons here, I'm flicking through to the next bank of controls. So on this, if I come into the main mix sliders or faders, if I come back again, so they're the first few. So that's how many audio channels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 audio channels that I'm controlling with the 8 faders. But if I go to the next set of faders, I'm now moved across there. And if we look at this, come back to the next page. So that's the next set of faders, next set of controls. And again, it does work on the auxiliaries and the pans on them as well. And then go to the next page, move across on the hardware, and you can see I'm controlling the rest of the channels as well. I do have the X8 ADAT input for this, which I've been testing as well, but it all just works. But don't have room for everything on the table for this jam. But yeah, so there's the final few faders. Come back again, just to reiterate really, whoops, wrong way. Page 2 faders, and then page 1 faders, as well as controlling the Nymphes. And I've sacrificed the pan and the OGs on these 4 channels at the end because I'm just not using them in this mix, so I just don't need them. So yeah, with a launch control, something like this, you could set it up for exactly what you need. And when I do need any more detailed Nymphes control, I can just come over to this one. And then I've got everything mapped. If I come into the browser, load that, so new custom mode, he has to leave this page, custom mode from the launch control, bring this one up to take a look at it. You can see we've got LFO1 rate wave, LFO2, we've got high pass, filter tracking, LFO1 type, LFO2 type, that's whether it's synced or not and stuff. You've got only 4 options on that, 0, 1, 2 and 3. Play mode, so poly modes, chord selector, detune, that's unison, so that's unison detune. Let's have a little play with that. That's unison, detune. If you've ever played with an Nymphes, these sorts of things can be a right pain to get right, so really handy just to have it there. Let's go back to the chord selector. Take the detune off. And then glide. And then down here we've got the reverb. It's got the inbuilt reverb in the Nymphes as well, so reverb mix, reverb size, a weird sounding reverb. And I should also show that we can have NRPN as well as control changes. So NRPN, most significant byte and least significant byte. Resolution can be 14-bit or 7-bit, same on the CCs. So a fair amount to play with. No SysX, which is a bit of a shame, but a lot in there. So yeah, it's really pretty easy to set all this up. The only issues I've had are with the AudioFuse control center. And if you come to the MIDI here, you've got to make sure you got your mixer control is on whichever mixer control you're using. I'm using the DIN out from the launch control. I have used it where it's just been set up with the launch control, taking its power and putting the MIDI in the front, and it works seamlessly as well. But the only issues I've ever had with this while I've been doing it over the past week or so is that the AudioFuse control center software does weird things every now and then. This is the 4th time I've recorded this because just weird things were happening. It was all set up okay, but changing from DIN to USB hosted demo stuff, for example, it just went a bit crazy. And putting into standalone and hosted. At one point it was disabled, but it was still controlling it. And the MIDI control features over here, you can see we've got the DIN and the USB device. So we've got the DIN coming out of the launch control and I've got it coming out of the USB device as well so that I can go in the computer. So maybe that was confusing things as well. And the reason I was doing that is just to show you that it does record all your various knob twiddles. Let's stop recording and open the event list. There's all the MIDI controls I've been recording while making this video. So just to dig into a little more about what I've got going on here, we've got the DIN out going into the DIN in on the AudioFuse from the launch control, and that's controlling all the sliders and the knobs on that. But it's also got a MIDI through on the AudioFuse, which is then sending the MIDI to the Nymphes as well. So the key step 37 is sending MIDI via USB to the computer, and I'm using this MIDI patch bay in the computer. These two aren't doing anything actually, to send the MIDI information from the Arturia key step into the AudioFuse. So it comes from here through the computer into the AudioFuse, and from the AudioFuse back into the Nymphes. I've got the USB on the Nymphes going through a power supply, because if you stick into the computer, you get little weird USB sort of odd noises, so it's just nicer doing it this way. But it does mean that it all could be standalone if we use the MIDI out from this to put into the MIDI in from that, and use the USB from the launch control to put the MIDI from the launch control and into the AudioFuse. But so that I could show it was recording and to do all the little bits and bobs and to be able to edit the launch control, it's all going through the computer. But this whole setup could be standalone. The LXR is sending MIDI out to the echolocator for the timing of the loop. So that's what that's doing there, if you're wondering. I'm sending mono outputs from channels 3 and 4 into the inputs of the echolocator and the Otto, and they're sending stereo signals back. So if I play it again, Inputs 7 and 8 are the echolocator, inputs 5 and 6 are the auto bam, inputs 3 and 4 are the percussion from the LXR, input 2 is the kick, and input 1 is the Nymphes. And on the bottom row you can see the outputs go into 3 and 4, and they're the auxiliary outputs 1 and 2 go into the auto bam and the echolocator. And you're set where the auxiliary outs are going and everything else is going in the AudioFuse's mod matrix. And this is full on super nerdy, and if you got one of these, you'll be sick of looking at this probably. And you can see analog outs 3 and 4 are set to the auxiliary 1 and 2 over there on the right. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to show. I hope that was of some use to somebody somewhere. I found this really useful. I have been looking for a solution for the AudioFuse to be able to get hands-on with it. I've got things on MIDI keyboards, but on the table, obviously every now and then, you know, I can't really have a 5-octave keyboard to have control of the AudioFuse. So I've been looking for a really nice, neat solution. So now this is a great opportunity to try something else, and it works great. I don't think you could have 2 of them to control the AudioFuse and have like 16 controllers there, because the software in the AudioFuse doesn't allow more than 8 channels. So you can only control 8 channels at once, as far as I can tell. There might be a way of doing it, but I don't see how you could as things stand. But if you do work it out, do let me know, because that would be brilliant. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you did find it useful, do subscribe, ring the bell, join me over on Patreon, do all that sort of stuff. Buy one of these via an affiliate link. That'll be handy. I'll get a couple of quid every time someone picks one of those up, or an AudioFuse, or any of the other stuff. So do check out those affiliate links. It is very handy. Check out my startercar.com website as well. There's patches, the samples, things to download, free stuff, and loads of great patches you can buy as well. And it's always nice when people pay for stuff, because it all really does help to support the channel. So thanks for staying to the very end. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.